Chapter 14. Cartwheels of Joy. Needless to say, Jack's parents had been extremely reluctant to move the old man into their home. However, the boy made such a passionate case for his grandfather that the family caved in. Grandpa wouldn't take up any space because he would sleep in the boy's bedroom. Plus, Jack promised he would look after him whenever he was not at school. When his parents finally said yes, the boy wanted to cartwheel up and down the living room. His heart was so full of joy. "This is only for a trial period," Jack's mother reminded him. "We're not sure we can cope forever," muttered Dad. "The doctors said his condition will get a lot worse over time. I don't want you to be disappointed if it doesn't work out." "And if he goes missing in the night again," announced Mum, "that's it, Jack. He has to go straight to Twilight Towers." Of course. He'll be sleeping in my bedroom, so I can make sure that never happens," exclaimed the boy. Then Jack raced out of the house back to Grandpa's flat to tell him the fantastic news, grinning all the way. Jack helped the old man pack up his belongings from his little flat. Aside from his memories, Grandpa didn't have much. Flying goggles, a pot of moustache wax, a tiny tin of spam. Then they walked the short distance to Grandpa's new quarters. As soon as they were upstairs in the boy's bedroom, the pair were playing World War II pilots. They were meant to have been in bed hours ago. However, together they took to the skies. Grandpa in his beloved Spitfire and Jack in his speedy Hurricane. Up and away, they cried as they battled the mighty Luftwaffe. They made such a racket, they were in danger of waking up the whole street. For a moment, Jack didn't care that he had no close friends to invite over to stay. This was the best sleepover ever. Just as the pair of flying aces were bringing their imaginary planes into land, Mum thumped on the bedroom door. She shouted, "I said lights out!" "I do wish that blasted char lady would stop it," said Grandpa. "I heard that," came the woman's voice from the other side of the door. After a game of cards in the officer's mess by torchlight, the old man made his way off to the bedroom window. He looked up at the empty sky. Only a faint sprinkling of stars could be seen twinkling through the dark. "What are you doing, sir?" asked the boy. "I am listening for enemy aircraft, old boy." "Can you hear any?" said Jack. He was now sat cross-legged on the top bunk, his model plane dangling round his head. "Shh, Grandad. Sometimes the Luftwaffe pilots switch off their engines and just let their planes glide. The enemy chief weapon is surprise. All that gives them away is the sound of the wind whistling past their wings. Listen." Jack cleared his mind of thoughts and concentrated hard on listening. It was absurd, if you thought about it. Here they were in 1983, listening out for planes that hadn't flown over the British Isles for nearly half a century. But it was so real in Grandpa's mind, Jack couldn't help but believe it too. They would have been here by now, if they were coming tonight. "We must dust down for the night. There is every chance the enemy are planning a dawn bombing raid." "Yes, Wing Commander," said Jack, saluting his grandfather, not sure whether bedtime was the appropriate time to salute. Grandpa closed the window and shuffled over to the bottom bunk. "Well, good night, old boy," he said as he turned out the light. "I hope you don't snore. Can't abide snorers." With that, the old man fell asleep instantly and started snoring as loudly as a bull elephant. The ends of his moustache fluttered like a butterfly's wings. Jack lay there on the top bunk, wide awake. Despite the deafening sound of the snoring, he couldn't be happier. He had saved his grandfather from being sent to Twilight Towers. Now that the whole family was under one roof, the boy had a warm, fuzzy feeling in his tummy. Jack's head rested on his pillow. Underneath it, he had hidden the key to his room. The boy had promised his parents the old man wouldn't go walkies in the middle of the night again, so while Grandpa was looking the other way, he had locked the bedroom door. The boy stared up at his model planes, spinning in the dark. If only they were real, he thought. Jack closed his eyes and began imagining he was in the cockpit of a World War II fighter plane, flying high above the clouds. Before long, he was fast asleep. Ring! The next thing Jack knew, his alarm was going off, as it did every weekday morning at 7 o'clock. As he lay on the top bunk in his bedroom, his hands groped for the old tin wind-up RAF clock that he'd turned off, and he turned it off. With his eyes still closed, the boy suddenly remembered that his grandfather had gone to sleep on the bottom bunk. He lay there for a moment, listening out for the old man snoring. That's strange, thought Jack. He couldn't hear a thing, yet he could feel the key still safely hidden under his pillow. The door must still be locked. There's no way Grandpa could have got out. All of a sudden, Jack realised he was cold, painfully cold. The top of his blanket felt icy. The model planes above his head were lightly dusted with frost. It had to be the same temperature inside as it was out. At that moment, the winter wind whipped up, making his curtains flap. The window must be open. For a moment, Jack couldn't bear to look below the bottom bunk. Slowly, he summoned all his courage. He took a deep breath before peeping down. The bunk was empty. The bed was so neatly made. It was as if it had been never slept in. That was very Grandpa. Despite making a daring escape in the middle of the night, he couldn't leave the bed unmade. His time in the RAF had made him a stickler for everything being spick and span. Leaping down from the bunk bed, Jack dashed to the window. He looked along the row of frosted gardens for some sign of the old man. Next, his eyes searched all the trees, roofs and even lampposts in case his grandfather had climbed up on one of them. Nothing beyond the gardens sat the park. Nothing. Beyond the gardens sat the park. It was still early and empty of people. The wide expanse of grass was covered with a thick layer of frost, and Jack couldn't make out any footprints. Grandpa was long gone.